Now, the festival of the unleavened bread, which is called the Passover, was near. The chief priests and the scribes were looking for a way to put Jesus to death, for they were afraid of the people.
When Satan entered into Judas Iscariot, who was one of the 12, he went away and conferred with the chief priests and officers of the temple police about how he might betray him to them.
They were greatly pleased and agreed to give him money. So he began to look for an opportunity when no crowd was present.
Then came the day of unleavened bread, on which the Passover lamb had to be sacrificed. So Jesus sent Peter and John, saying,
"Go and prepare the Passover meal for us so that we may eat it."
Where do you want us to make the preparations?
Listen, when you have entered the city, a man carrying a jar of water will meet you. Follow him into the house he enters and say to the owner of the house, "Where is the guest room where I may eat the Passover meal with my disciples?" He will show you a large room upstairs already furnished. Make the preparations for us there.
So they went and found everything as he had told them, and they prepared the Passover meal.
When the hour came, he took his place at the table, and the apostles with him.
I have eagerly desired to eat this Passover with you before I suffer. For I tell you, I will not eat it until it is fulfilled in the kingdom of God.
While they were eating, Jesus took a loaf of bread, and after blessing it, he broke it, gave it to his disciples, and said,
"Take, eat. This is my body."
Then he took a cup, and after giving thanks, he gave it to them, saying,
"Drink from it, all of you, for this is my blood of the covenant, which is poured out for many for the forgiveness of sins. Do this as often as you drink it in remembrance of me."
They went out to the Mount of Olives.
You will all become deserters, for it is written, "I will strike the shepherd, and the sheep will be scattered."
Even though all will become deserters, I will not.
Truly, I tell you, Peter, this day, this very night, before the cock crows twice, you will deny me 3 times.
Even though I must die with you, I will not deny you.
All of them said the same.
They went out to a place called Gethsemane.
Sit here while I pray.
With them Peter and John and James, and began to be distressed and agitated.
I am deeply grieved, even to death. Remain here and keep awake.
And going a little further, he threw himself on the ground and prayed that if it were possible, the hour might pass from him.
Abba, Father, for you all things are possible. Remove this cup from me. Yet, not what I want, but what you want.
3 times he returned, and he found the disciples sleeping.
Are you still sleeping and taking your rest? Enough! The hour has come. The Son of Man is betrayed into the hands of sinners. Get up. Let us be going. See, my betrayer is at hand.
Immediately, while he was still speaking, Judas, one of the 12, arrived. And with him there was a crowd with swords and clubs from the chief priests, the scribes, and the elders.
The one I will kiss is the man. Arrest him and lead him away.
So when he came, Judas went up to him at once.
Rabbi,
And he kissed him. Then they laid hands on him and arrested him.
They took Jesus to the high priest and all the chief priests, the elders, and the scribes. Peter had followed at a distance right into the courtyard of the high priest, and he was sitting warming himself by the fire.
Now the chief priests and the whole council were looking for testimony against Jesus to put him to death, but they found none. for many gave false testimony against him, and their testimony did not agree. Then the high priest stood up before them and asked Jesus,
"Are you the Messiah, the Son of the Blessed One?"
I am. You will see the Son of Man seated at the right hand of power and coming with the clouds of heaven.
Why do we still need witnesses? You have heard the blasphemy. What is your decision?
And all of them condemned him as deserving death. While Peter was below in the courtyard, one of the servant girls of the high priest came by. When she saw Peter warming himself, she stared at him and said,
"You also are with Jesus, the man from Nazareth."
I do not know what you're talking about.
Then the cock crowed. And the servant girl, on seeing him again, began to say to the bystanders,
"This man is one of them."
but again he denied it.
"Certainly you are one of them, for you are a Galilean."
But he began to curse, and he swore an oath.
I do not know this man you are talking about.
And at that moment, the cock crowed for the second time. Then Peter remembered what Jesus had said to him.
Before the cock crows twice, you will deny me 3 times.
And he broke down and wept.
Are you the King of the Jews?
It is as you say.
A man called Barabbas was in prison with the rebels who had committed murder during the insurrection. So the crowd came and began to ask Pilate to do for them according to his custom.
Do you want for me to release to you the King of the Jews? Then what would you wish for me to do with the man that you call the King of the Jews?
Crucify him! Crucify him! Crucify him! Wishing to satisfy the crowd, released Barabbas for them. And after flogging Jesus, handed him over to
Then the soldiers led him into the courtyard of the palace, and they clothed him in a purple cloak. And after twisting some thorns into a crown, they put it on him, and they began saluting him.
Hail, King of the Jews! Hail! Hail! Struck his head with a reed. They spat upon him, and they knelt down in homage to him. And after mocking him, they stripped him of his purple cloak, and they put his own clothes on him. And then they led him out to crucify him.
They brought Jesus to the place called Golgotha, which means the place of a skull. And they offered the wine used to burn, but he did not take it.
And they crucified him. They divided his clothes among them, casting lots to decide what each should take.
It was 9 o'clock in the morning when they crucified him.
When it was about noon, Darkness came over the whole land until 3 in the afternoon. Finally, Jesus cried out in a loud voice,
Father, unto your hands I commend my spirit.
Certainly this man was God's son.
They took the body of Jesus and wrapped it with spices in linen cloths